You're listening to BleedTV, the only podcast for today's best shows and movies. And I'm Cash.
And I'm Jake.
And here we are doing Season 2, Episode 4 of Preacher.
Yep, that's right. We're sans Zach this episode.
We are. I don't know if we'll ever all be back together.
Yeah.
We'll just keep pulling injuries.
A lot of busy lives and, things that we all have to take care of.
Yeah. And then this one is Viktor.
Viktor, yeah. Which, would make you think that you would learn a whole lot about this Viktor character. Negatory.
Yeah, I mean, outside of him being extremely scary, I don't think I learned anything about him. But then I don't know if he was scary by the end of the episode.
I think his henchman, Ben, was scary, but I don't know about him.
I don't know. Like when we first got introduced into him and then we just have the long, awkward silence, I was creeped out.
Yeah.
And then like the music and like the score that David Porter had with it, I had goosebumps.
So, all over though, what do you think about this episode?
I'm going to go with it was really, really good. Like it moved it forward even though we went nowhere. And like just how we introduced Viktor, his henchman, the fear that he put into Tulip, the acting, and just a little bit more of Dennis. It gave me everything that I wanted. You?
I feel like about this one about like I did last week. Another very good episode, but not a ton of movement.
Yeah.
So Zach and I talked about this last week where we were kind of wondering how many episodes can they give you without the Saint of Killers showing up.
I think 2 because I'm pretty sure he's going to show up next week.
Well, what they did was they did a good job. They start this episode directly where the last episode started because we were like, they can't go 1 or 2 more days.
No.
It's like they got there, we had all last episode, and now we have the second day. And we know the Saint of Killers is now walking into New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, that's fine. I'm good with it then.
And like they've actually played it off to where I can conceive in like 2 days he could probably make that walk. Not stopping, not having to pee, eat, or drink or anything.
Maybe.
I'm okay with it.
Whatever. I don't care. I just know that he can cover ground.
Yeah.
And they can't be dilly-dallying and him not show up very soon.
And have you been remembering that he doesn't know he can't use Genesis? Because I forgot that he doesn't know that.
Well, yeah, he's not supposed to be using it because it's supposed to draw the Saint Killer. But we all
the contract's
know.
off, yeah. And so like he's still using it free willy, not thinking that the Saint of Killers is after him. So I'm excited to see how he gets reintroduced into the show.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And we also know he's going to use it if it's Tulip is in danger.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, all right. Once again, kind of like last week, there's not a ton of stuff to talk about this episode.
No.
There's 3 or 4 high points that you really need to know. And then the rest of it's kind of not filler, but slow movement to next episodes. Okay, so I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's knock out Eugene.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's just get Hell completely out of the way.
Okay. So Hell is on the fritz,
yes.
Apparently. Well, at least one floor or one, whatever it's called, wing is on the fritz. So we get to see more of Hitler, and we get to see like 6 to 10 more other Hell guests.
Exactly. And like right before the show started, I tweeted out, would Hitler be that scary? I feel like you could have a couple of interesting one-on-one conversations with him.
Well,
and that's what Hitler kind of ended up being.
I think they did a really cool thing. First off, you said it for the podcast. Only Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg could make you feel any remorse towards Hitler.
Yeah, like I mean, Hitler, can you do something like throw a kick or anything?
Well, I was waiting for him to do a throat chop or something on this Tyler guy, but didn't happen. Anyway, are you like me that when the other people are coming out of their doors and stuff like that, were you like trying to figure out what was their crime? What'd they do?
Yes.
Like what got them here? There's a few like pretty girls like from the 50s styles.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing here?
There's like a caveman, it looks like almost.
Yeah, it was a Neanderthal.
Yeah, he's weird. He can't speak.
Yeah, he's got to be a Neanderthal because later in the episode, you see him looking at the fire like, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird. And then did you notice the numbers on their chest?
Yeah, he's like 38 million.
Yeah. Well, Eugene has a number that comes before Hitler. It makes no sense. Yeah. Like I paused it, I looked him up and stuff. Like, and then a couple people have the same number.
Huh. Weird.
Because like it fascinated me. I tried to look up Reddit. I looked everywhere to try to see if anyone had any ideas on these numbers. Nothing.
Well, most of what we've seen on this show is done on purpose. Yeah, so I'm assuming maybe it means something because they didn't like focus on the numbers, but it was clear that you were able to read them.
On some points you could definitely read them.
Right. So we get to the point where Eugene can't get back into his room.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's kind of scared. They're like, if they catch us out of our rooms, we're all going to be put in the hole.
And like I'm sitting there thinking, like, if you're already in hell and this is your torment and punishment, how does it really get worse?
Well,
you find out later, but
we kind of find out.
Yeah,
we see what could be something awful. But he goes into Hitler's. What do they call it?
I mean, we'll just call it torture chamber,
torment room.
Yeah.
So we get to see, and this is what I thought was very smart. We only get to see half or the beginning of Hitler's worst memory.
And I love it's just first off, loving Hitler's mustache. Didn't think I would ever say that in my life, but loving that full, thick, beautiful mustache.
And kudos to the makeup guy. I'm assuming that this guy, I don't really know the actor that well, doesn't have the scars on the side of his face like that. But it looks so wicked. I really like it.
No, they've done a great job with.
And then we all know that Hitler was an artist too. And to like bring that into the story.
Oh, I've got to figure this person is going to butcher Hitler's paintings, right? Like that's got to be what this memory is.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is going to be what turned Adolf Hitler into
Adolf Hitler.
The single name Hitler. You know what I'm saying? Like there's only certain people that get away with, you know them by their single name.
Yes.
You know, like a Madonna, a Cher,
Bono,
usually divas of some kind.
Caesar, you know, just
yeah. Now and there's always Hitler, of course. So I love this little sequence though,
and I love like we see like that brief like anger moment where the waiter hits him.
The Jewish guy walks into him. And you think he's gonna have a freak out.
Well, because like the music got real tense and everything, and like they zoom in on him and everything, and he said just, "Oh no, you're fine."
My fault. He blamed himself for it. It's like, man, this is something's going to turn him, obviously. And I think you might be right. It might be something to do with his getting his, drawings just shat upon by this critic or whatever.
Well, because like he's just so caring about him and stuff and passionate. He's like, no, they're not ready. And she's like, no, it'll be fine. He's a friend. And I'm like, and then I'm thinking like, this dude's got to be boning Hitler's girl.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be part of it.
And he had an odd reaction to the communist comment too. It was almost like he was a sympathizer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And was a little taken aback by what she said. And then he just played his part, basically. Anyway.
Really hoping we get to see the end of his dream.
They've got to show us the entire tormented memory.
Yeah.
So we get out of that. We get another scene where Eugene is called down to the principal's office.
That's what I was about to say. Essentially the principal's office. And
she's on the phone. And every once in a while you see her voice break into like demon voice. And I was like, ooh, nice touch. I like this. And she's mad that somebody has escaped.
Yes.
And then she's kind of coming at Eugene talking about, you seem like a nice guy. That shit don't fly down here.
And I loved it. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm glad she's complimenting Eugene's outfit. And then like you said, that don't fly here. And I was like, oh, God. And at that moment I realized I would never make it in hell.
Yeah. And I don't know who this beast of a man is in real life. I assume a pro wrestler or something.
Has to be.
But Yeah, he comes over, opens up the hole. It's some nasty, toxic, fuming thing with people screaming in it.
Lots and lots of screaming.
That looks pretty terrible, I'm sure.
And it looked pretty hot. Like I thought, like I saw some flames flickering up and stuff, and I was like, okay, that's the hell I always imagined.
Yeah. So, is the person she's complaining about the Saint of Killers?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking when she just got word that God was gone. And so I was thinking she was talking about God, but I really like where your head's at, being the Saint of Killers.
No, because she said, if we don't get this taken care of, it'll get back to you know who. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So clearly she's talking about the devil. And I think it might be Saint of Killers. Because we know now he was basically in a torment room too.
Yep.
So if he's left and they don't know where he is, then that's a good thing. And matter of fact, before we started the podcast, I didn't think about that. I was thinking about it. And I was like, hey, you know what? That's probably him.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I like where your head's at going with it. So now are we going to have a retrieval unit coming after the Saint of Killers?
Well, it's very possible because we already know that there's an angel group of, badasses, like the angel SWAT.
Yep, that we're going to have to come back and see.
That were coming to get Genesis.
Yes.
Well, really, they were coming to get the two rogue angels.
That's it. I was like, because our two angels were not SWAT. But
no.
The Terminator girl, definitely SWAT.
Yes, absolutely. So that would be pretty badass if we get the Hell SWAT and the Angel SWAT, you know what I mean? Like having to meet up, and then there's the Saint of Killers in there, and then there's Jesse and Cassidy and Tulip in there.
No, I mean, there's a lot of play with that. And then potentially even the devil coming out just because he knows he can get Genesis.
I will be curious to see if we get a shot of the devil ever this season.
I think we'll get like a, what's it called? Like a shadow figure?
Like a silhouette of him or something?
I feel like we'll get a silhouette of him. And then like he'll have horns and stuff, but he won't have horns once we get like the real image of him.
Until they figure out who to cast as the person.
Figure out. It'll probably be like Dave Grohl from...
For Foo Fighters?
Yeah, well, like not that, but like when he was in Jack Black's music video.
Oh, okay, like Pick of Destiny. And,
Pick of Destiny. It'll probably be like that silhouette of Dave Grohl, and then it'll just be Dave Grohl.
Well, yeah, but you think about Rogue and Goldberg, and they wrote, what was the End of Days one?
Oh, him and James Franco.
Oh my God, I can't remember that.
It's gonna murder me with Jonah Hill and everything getting impregnated.
Right. So we know what they see as demons and devils, what they look like. Basically, a lot of huge dongs on horned red things. So who knows what we could see with this? Because I've not read the graphic novels, so I'm not sure, what they look like inside that even.
No, and I'm excited to see what we get going on in hell.
Right, but afterwards we get another sequence
where they're all kind of like in the mess hall.
Yeah, well, commons room. Yeah, you know what I mean. And we get the douchey Tyler guy with this collar flipped up, and he's been bullying Hitler a little bit, and he starts at him again. Now, Cash and I both thought that at some point Hitler was like gonna chop him in the throat.
Yeah, or at least give him, like when he did the salute, I thought he was at least gonna turn that into an attack or something.
Right, something. But no, and then we got to talking about it. It's kind of like, well, Hitler was just
a guy,
a kind of a dude that had a massive military, and he was, just this great speaker.
Yeah, I mean, one of the world's greatest speakers that was able to get millions of people to follow him through fear and.
Well, that's what they talk about, the charismatic leader. You know what I mean? That can, bring, fold people to his will.
Yeah.
So.
And in hell, that's just unfortunately not a very good characteristic to have.
Yeah, well, you're by yourself. Mm-hmm. You're a loner down here, and you have to solve your own problems. So even the fratty douche Tyler can push you around, beat you up, and you think we're going to get a Eugene step in and protect him until he sees a camera in the corner.
Yeah, well, like even then, like I thought for some reason, I have this picture of Eugene just becoming a total badass in hell. And like, I thought it was going to happen with him protecting Hitler of all people. And then, no, he just ends up starting the chant back up and kicking Hitler in the face.
Kyle stomping his head, basically.
But I will also say this fight, the Hitler fight scene, I don't know if it was supposed to be comedically bad, but it was awful.
Yeah, I kind of think so, actually. And the other major fight scene we get in this episode.
Fantastic.
Well, even though, it could have the Benny Hill music playing in the background. You know what I mean? So it's like...
It was very Three Stooges-esque.
I don't know where they were going, and like what kind of mood they were in when they made this episode, but it's like, okay, I see where they're going. Yeah, I agree with you. It was comically silly, and kind of harkens back to old movies you used to see with like silly phantom kicks and stomps and stuff on a guy on the ground. So
it was almost like very Jackie Chan-esque. Like towards like his middle career to where he's like using a lot of props and like missing a lot of punches.
Well, there was a lot of times where you kicked and like a puff of dust would come up off of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree, but that's about the end of Eugene we get.
And so, are you excited for more, or like, do you want more hell, or do you want less hell?
No, I want more hell.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to, because first off, Eugene was sent there. Mm-hmm. He didn't die and go there.
And so like, I'm intrigued why they're not worried how they just randomly got him there.
Well, that's the thing. I have a feeling that Eugene is part of the problem that's fritzing
the system.
Because he's not
dead. Like, he's not a soul.
He's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Eugene is legitimately
alive.
Legitimately sorry and has repented. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I haven't even thought about it like that. Yeah.
Because they talk about, suicides are there, but he's an attempted suicide. He didn't die, but he's also fully a redemptive personality, yes. I think.
And has probably been saved again and everything.
Yeah, I would assume, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there is something with the fritzing going on. I think has something to do with him,
I can definitely see that,
or the fact that Santa Killers has ran off,
or some combination of both.
Right. Okay. We do not get a ton of Jesse this episode.
No, which I'm kind of okay with.
Well, it was a weird thing that Jesse and Cassidy go into. They just randomly on an infomercial with Malcolm in the middle, Frankie Muniz.
Great cameo. Great job to just randomly pull Frankie Muniz out of nowhere and put him in the show.
But the God replacement from season 1 plays a homeless person in the infomercial. Okay, then we realize he's an actor. So we get a good, 30 minutes of the episode of them just searching for this guy. We get 10 minutes of them talking to the agent, which was pretty damn funny.
Yes, I did enjoy this. And like whenever Cassidy started being like, for Game of Thrones, no, business class. He's like, no, first class. Business where not everyone's made out of money.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he's playing this person.
Dinklage flies business. It's like, really?
We put him in a suitcase. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, I just thought this was great. This guy played it really well. He played the straight man, but as one of these weird lunatic agent characters, you know what I mean? And, I love that Cassidy took the lead on this.
Yes.
And that Jesse just kind of just sit back and realize that his way wasn't working.
It was like, unless he used Genesis, he wasn't going to get any information out of him. And then Cassidy was just being Cassidy.
Yeah, I know what you need to hear to get my information. So I love this stuff. So that was good. We get to see the audition film where he gets blown away.
Out of nowhere. Did not see this coming in the slightest. And then, Cassidy's freaking out. As I'm freaking out. And then Jesse's like, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, he had to go to heaven.
Yeah.
So you have to die. So it all makes sense, but it's also crazy as hell.
Yeah. And then...
Well, you get to thinking okay, this is going to lead to us finding this actor. But no. The actor is in heaven.
Yeah.
All this was literally just to see a hand holding a gun and realize that they're actually looking for the people that made the movie.
But then it's like, are these the same people that hoodwinked us in the last episode?
I'm thinking possibly. Well, maybe, because that means there's another group of people that know God is missing.
Yeah, and then how do they know that? Like, did God tell them? Like, how are people on Earth discovering this and then making actions for heaven?
Yeah, I don't know. They got a lot of splaining to do.
And then we still have, like, are these same people the same people that are after Cassidy from the pilot episode?
Yeah, they have not gone even remotely touched back onto Cassidy being hunted by basically vampire hunters.
And I think that part of that's going to deal with Dennis, because I don't know if y'all threw out ideas on who Dennis was, but I think Dennis is the person who turned Cassidy.
Well, that's what my thought was.
Yeah.
And then Zach was like, well, dang, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, his host or whatever you call it, whatever the one that turned him. The Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is the first one we're going with?
Lestat. I mean, Interview with the Vampire style. That's the way you go.
Okay. I was more of a Blade person for my first vampire movie, so.
But Blade was born a vampire. There wasn't a Turner.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
No. It's bad. Bad reference.
You're right.
You could have gone the Kiefer Sutherland, Lost Boys.
Never seen Lost Boys.
Oh, my God. What a shame.
Blame my brother.
That is a classic of my childhood. Oh, it still holds up. It's pretty great. Okay. Frog Brothers, it's good stuff.
That'll be my homework for next week.
Yeah, you deserve a good dose of Lost Boys. You've seen Stand By Me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Same vein.
Okay.
Coming of age tales. Anyway, like I said, we got like time with Jesse on the screen, but it wasn't like a lot of, I don't know, progress, I guess you'd say.
Like, I feel like Jesse almost regressed this episode. Like, I didn't want to see him on screen. Like, I need him to be not so one-track minded. I understand that he's looking for God and this is the most important mission in the world. But
I was surprised, though, that he was so nonchalant about Tulip.
Yes. Like, that just wasn't working for me because, like, she's caring so much and, like, she's still throwing out till the end of the world. You can tell how much she's in pain, like, emotionally and everything. And Jesse's just flatlined.
Yeah.
And, like, that was our problem with him in the middle of the first season.
I agree. He's tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect term for it. And I guess it does lead to a little bit of comic relief with Cassidy, like having to break down and finally tell him he's hinting at it constantly.
I've been dropping hints at you all day, mate. Like, you're not listening. You're not picking up. He's like, well, I'm picking up now.
Yeah. Which, ends up leading us to a glorious fight scene.
Yes.
At Viktor's house. But let's talk a little bit about what we saw at Viktor's house. So, the henchmen.
Yes.
They're all well-dressed, slick-haired, quiet thugs.
And, like, I'm assuming he's got to be Russian. And so, how is a Russian mob doing so well in New Orleans?
You think this guy's Russian?
I don't know what else Viktor would be, because it's spelled with a K.
Yeah, and it's spelled a little different, too. It's like K-T-O-R or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's V-I-K-T-O-R. So, like, I can't think of it being any other nationality. But he's got a lot of different races working for him, so.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like he doesn't have a solid Russian crew, that's for sure.
Nuh-uh.
So they're all kind of cool. We meet his daughter, who spits in Tulip's eyes.
Did not see that coming. I expected her, like, you expect a little girl to always be like the little saving grace, like, oh, okay, yes, I'm so happy. No.
But you know what I do like? The realism of what spit really looks like. You get a lot of these movies where they're like, they spit, and there's like this perfect round droplet that like hits always on the side of the nose or near the eye and runs down, and they wipe it off, right? This one, it was a just pure splatter that like came out of her.
Different size of chunks, everything coming at her and stuff. And I was
what it looks like when you spit.
I was like, it was actual. She had water in her mouth, and Tulip was A-okay with it somehow.
Yeah. So you could tell Tulip used to be close with all these people. The henchman playing cards. She's trying to make a light joke. They won't speak to her. She goes into the kitchen, talk to the big guy. He's like, needs more salt.
I loved that so much. Like, he's just sitting there eating, just like trying to figure out something to do. Needs more salt. Then the cook just looks at him like, how dare you tell me I need more seasoning in my food?
Yeah, and even the like cleaning ladies and stuff like that, they're not. They won't speak to her. So there's clearly a history. Yes. She knows everybody's name in the house, but nobody likes her right now.
And so it's like either Viktor became very tough, or she screwed them much worse than I ever could have figured that she could have.
Well, that's the thing, is they're not hinting at all towards how she screwed him.
Yeah.
We just know that sorry ain't going to cut it and tears ain't going to cut it.
No.
And that she's got like a couple hours to figure out what to say that will cut it. We meet the Ben character, who is the resident torture guy.
Loves his job. And I love that he's listening to music.
This is a total callback to like American Psycho.
See, it took me back to Leon the Professional.
Well, yeah, I see Leon the Professional, but the music part.
Yeah, that's what it took me back, because he was listening to like old classical Mozart.
Oh, you're talking about the villain.
Yeah, as he was mowing everybody down with the shotgun.
I see you now. I see it, definitely. But this totally brought me back to Christian Bale and like talking about Huey Lewis in the news. Mm-hmm. He's even got like an apron on.
And then just joyfully sprayed acid out somebody. Like, boop, boop.
Yeah, just tss, tss. And you just hear it sizzling. Ah! And he's so nonchalant, it comes out. It's like, he's back with us.
I don't know how that happened. It usually doesn't work like this.
He's like, I don't know how long we're going to have him, but, we have him for a minute.
Yeah.
Then, later on, he's like, yeah, heart failure. It happens sometimes.
And so how would you do being tortured? Like, I would already be telling them whatever they wanted to hear before anything even touched me.
Oh, no, I have no threshold for pain. I'm the biggest baby.
It's like I have a threshold for pain, but there's no amount of information that I have that's going to be like, no, you can just have it. You're not going to believe me regardless. So
yeah, first time they spray acid on me, I'm done. I'm totally done.
Like, it could just be water placebo effect. I'd be like, no, here, take it.
I know there's pain that's going to come with this somehow. No, I would be no good at this.
Yeah,
but I do like this character, and pretty messed up that Viktor has it next to his office.
Yes,
he likes to hear what's going on.
It takes us back to the villain from season 1. As he's sitting there listening to cows being slaughtered as he eats a steak.
I agree. And the first time you see him coming out of that room, he's got the blue like Tyvek suit, and he's like, "Just hold on to that. This one's not going to be a fast one. This would be an all day affair."
I was like, oh.
He's covered in like blood spray.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, ugh. But Jesse does show up.
Yes.
He's just genesising everybody. I love the bald talk by the two guards out front.
Yep.
They're like, my follicles just gave up. You know what I mean?
They're just sitting there like just two normal people and stuff, and then you're having a chit chat. Then, no.
Yeah, open the gate.
Private property.
Yeah. Stay. Just sit still. Y'all don't move, and you see them all just like frozen.
Like the one guy's like getting up to pull his gun or something. He's like, don't, and then like you said, frozen, and then sits back down. And then like, I was really wanting him to just be like, do jumping jacks, just mess with them for the entire time.
Well, he's being too quick though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, comes in. You think Tulip does a number on some people?
Yes.
First off, she whoops Big Boy's ass and steals his gun.
Mm-hmm.
Then she goes for Viktor, puts it up to his head, and is like, I'll blow your brains out, just let me leave. And he says no. Turns his face, like, pull the trigger, do it.
And I gotta say, I'm a sucker for this every time. I love when somebody says, pull the trigger. Like, I don't know why, but that's one of my favorite villain things. It's just like, go ahead, do it.
Oh, I like it when there's non-villain. I mean, Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon style. You know what I mean?
Ooh, okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
Maybe Danny Glover. He's like, do you want to die? Yeah, so Tulip, still, she gets jumped. She still beats the shit out of like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think 3 or 4 people.
Before Ben comes in with an axe handle.
Like, my God. Like, that should have murdered her.
Yeah, that would be awful.
Like, she's not waking up for days.
But no, he's like, just leave her. I'll take care of her. So you don't know what to think. You assume, honestly, I thought they were going to have sex when he come in the door.
And that they were making the sounds like they were too. And so, I mean, I'm right there with you. I thought this is going to be really terrible. And
this is going to be awful for Jesse.
And she's just sitting. Well, I mean, before we get to that, we'll just go to the fight scene. Between
Was
Ben
that before?
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, it is before.
And so, like, because he goes into the office and then he just looks at the door and he's like, I'm going to check it out. And so then he goes in through the door and we see old heart failure just laying right there, hanging up on the hook. And then I guess he hit him with the billy club taser?
The axe handle again.
The axe handle again?
Yeah.
And I thought Jesse was dead. I was like, great.
Okay, so this is where the hilarity ensues.
Yes.
This is what I talk about with the Benny Hill music, stuff like that. Jesse is out on his feet. You know what I mean? He's up and fighting, but he is totally concussed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see fighters do this where they're still there, they're still moving, they're still attacking sometimes.
It's like getting up after a Tyson knockdown. Like, you're just not there.
But you could clearly tell, like, their eyes are bugged out and they look kind of glazed over and stuff. So this fight is not fast.
No.
It's slow and, like, silly.
You can see everything coming from a mile away. Like, they're winding up just to wind up the punch and everything.
Yeah, because Jesse lands several mean shots on this dude.
Yep.
And he's dazed as well. But he takes the first few like a champion.
Absolutely.
This dude is tough as shit. And he's wearing his earbuds, and we're getting this awesome music playing in the background, so he can't hear Genesis.
We can still hear Genesis, which I thought was a really nice touch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then, not only that, I was just like, where can I get these headphones? Like, he's making a lot of movements, because in any headphones I go running in, I start pumping my arms and everything, and the bad boys fall out.
Yeah.
And so,
well,
super glue or something.
At least they're the ear wrap ones.
Yes.
Those will hold your ear a little better. But we get some funny ass weapons here.
Fire hose.
Okay, Jesse's first weapon is a fire hose, and he's
using every bit of this thing.
He's deflecting the axe handle first, and he's like, he blocks a shot and then whips him in the face a couple times with the fire nozzle.
That's gotta hurt so bad.
Those things are like cast bronze, you know what I mean? That would hurt like hell.
All I know is the end of a belt hurts, and that's like, what, nickel?
Oh my God, that's like pot metal.
Like, I can only imagine what a 15-pound nozzle is going to feel like coming out the side of my head.
Likely death is what it felt like. So he loses that, so he gets a machete, and he comes back. He takes a couple more shots with the nozzle.
Yeah, and then like he just starts cutting the hose, and I'm like, yes, finally something that makes sense.
Yeah, and then Jesse goes to hide behind heart failure here, cuts his arm off. So what does Jesse do? Uses his arm as a weapon. Yeah. So it's like what I tell my kids all the time. I'll beat your arms off and beat you to death with them. Or I'll tear your arms off, beat you to death with them, and stuff like that. And it's like,
this can be done.
This happens. He starts beating him up with an arm.
So how'd you like to get to hell? Be like, how'd you get here? I got beat to death with a dead man's arm.
With my own arm.
Oh, God.
So that happens. But then Ben turns the tables on him.
Yeah.
And starts whipping the shit out of him again. He falls back into a foosball table.
Why there's a foosball table in the torture room?
Because that's what these guys are into. I mean, there's sick business here. And then we get the most ridiculous weapon ever. Where he tears off one of the foosball handle bars.
So you're calling that more ridiculous than an arm?
Yes. At least the arm we may have seen before, where that's happened before. I've never, ever seen a foosball bar or handle or whatever you want to call it.
You know why? Because foosball is the world's worst game. Sorry if anyone listens to foosball.
You probably just made some enemies.
Good, because foosball is terrible.
What I will say it would be so hard to rip one of those things out of the table.
I've tried so hard many of times in my terrible years of playing foosball of trying to rip one of those handles out.
Well, that's a classic rule. No tilt.
Yes.
You can't be picking up on the handles. Because those things can take some serious weight. So it's like, the fact that he tore it out of there, I was like, wow. So we see a cattle prod. We see an arm, a fire hose,
foosball handle,
a machete, axe handle.
Everything.
Everything you think of. And the wall still has more stuff. If the fight would have lasted longer, it would have got more stuff.
It would have just gotten out of hand.
But it finally is ended with a foosball rod.
Through the cadaver,
then through Ben.
Yep. And were you disappointed that Jesse never pulled any of the earbuds out and just used Genesis?
No, because I wanted this ridiculous fight to continue.
Okay.
So it didn't bother me that much. I guess it didn't bother me, but it would have made sense.
Yeah.
That as soon as he could get a hold of him, because he knocked him a few times and could have got his ear. You know what I mean?
Or at least just grab the wire and be able to pull him out.
Something. But
I'm okay with how it ended and everything.
Yeah, I love the design. Sorry. The way the camera was working, where they made it where it seemed like a long shot, where Jesse would fall on the ground and they would kind of zoom in on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And it would go black and then they'd pull out and he's getting up again. You know what I mean?
No, the director did his job for this fight scene.
Oh, they used some really slick techniques to where they can make a shot be broken up but feel like a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
So, well done. Super kudos to this guy.
Bravo.
Cameraman crushed it.
But after, we just had Ben die and everything, and then that's when he comes out of the office, looks down the hall, sees
Victor's room.
Yeah. And then that's when you start hearing, well, at least I think you start hearing sex noises.
I thought it was some moans. I did.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just her crying or something.
It didn't even look like she was crying when we
got
in there.
It didn't look like it. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought I heard some intimate noises coming out of there. But yeah, he rushes in, takes no time, punches him in the face, puts him in a headlock, starts choking him out.
As they're both sitting Indian style on the bed. And I was just like, okay, Jesse. You still got the adrenaline pumping and everything. You just killed a man with a foosball rod. I'll give it to you.
Oh, he'd be fired up.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, we get the reveal. And I think you or Zach called this beforehand, that Victor's her husband.
I think it might have been me because I felt like that was the odd thing, but I'd have to go back and listen.
It was a couple episodes ago we were talked about, like, what did she do so wrong to Victor? And I thought it was just some, left him in a lurch on a heist or something. But one of you said that she's probably married to him.
Well, since Zach's not here, I'll happily take the credit.
No, I understand. You know what? And that's just the way it works.
Yeah. Can't defend yourself.
So, like I said, the episode called Victor, this was the big reveal. Mm-hmm. But I still thought we were going to get a lot more Victor information.
Yeah, I feel like Victor's just going to end up becoming an ally.
I feel like Victor's going to get blown away in the next episode.
From the Saint of Killers?
Yeah.
Or the cowboy, I guess as we call him on the show.
Because let me tell you what they've done. They've introduced us to a mini henchman. They've introduced us to the front of the house.
Yep.
2 guys that walk the gate. A whole rooms full of people. I'm like, oh, all of these guys
are dead.
Are dead as shit by the Saint of Killers.
And I think Tulip ends up saving him. Or Jesse ends up saying, I don't think we're going to see Victor die.
It would still surprise me if he dies, but tell me it wouldn't surprise you or would surprise you if he did die.
I think I would honestly be a little surprised if he died. You don't just give a man an episode and then kill him in the next one. Like, I know this show can do anything, and I'm excited for it. But I think to just give a man the title episode and then kill him in the next one, that's some crazy stuff right there.
Yeah. I think we're going to get a couple cool reveals, though, pretty soon. I think one of them's going to be, who the fuck is Dennis?
I can't wait. I really hope it is Dennis because...
He's like, that's just some French.
I love that Cassie has never learned to speak French in 119 years.
Yeah.
How do you live 119 years and not pick up a second language?
Well, there's people older than 119 right now.
I'm assuming they know 2 languages.
No. They know, their accent from wherever butthole town they're from.
Yep.
And that's it. And English. American English. I don't know what's going to come up of it, but I'm looking forward to it. And if Viktor survives, fine. It's a good actor.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But so was...
James Earl Haley?
James Earl Haley, of course. But I'm talking about even this season, Jesse's other preacher friend. Another good actor.
Yeah.
Now, he had an excellent episode, but it's like, dang, dead already.
He had an excellent 10, 15 minutes.
I mean, there was a gas station attendant who got his tongue pulled out.
Oh.
Just because he ran across the preacher.
And he was told to forget about him.
Yeah. These guys come in direct contact with the path that Jesse's taking. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, these guys are greased for sure.
What do you think we end up leaving New Orleans by the 2 or 3 episodes?
You can't hang out in one spot. There's no way.
No, not with the Santa Killers after.
Unless we get some demon SWAT or angel SWAT coming down to help with the Santa Killers, they have to leave.
You're right. And
they can't. He's too powerful. They've already shown how powerful he is. Mm-hmm. He's basically the Grim Reaper. You know what I'm saying?
He's more powerful than Genesis, so...
So, I mean, they can't stay in any city for any amount of time that he's there.
Yeah.
You can't hide from him. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they got to be busting out of New Orleans into next episode.
Hopefully heading north to Memphis. We got some jazz.
Oh, that'd be nice. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take a little cameo.
I'd love it. And I mean, I don't remember us doing any filming here, so.
No, they definitely didn't.
So sad.
I always know when they do. I think we had This Is Us here recently, and that's about it.
We had something like a year ago. There was a big movie or something.
Well, we had the Cinemax show Quarry.
That might have been it.
Was filmed here.
Yeah, it was Quarry.
Which unfortunately it's already been canceled too. But that was filmed right down the street from me, and then downtown quite a bit. But yeah, we don't get as much as we should. We have plenty of. I wish they would. That's like my dream. Is to make
tax
film.
Breaks just aren't really good.
No, their incentives are not.
Yeah.
Even remotely as close to New Orleans or Atlanta. So.
Atlanta, man, there's so much filming in Georgia.
Well, nobody wants to film in LA anymore, I guess. It's just too damn expensive.
Yeah, taxes.
So
Taxes are outrageous.
Anyway, we won't get into this conversation.
But that's pretty much the episode.
That's the episode. I'm really looking forward to more hell stuff with Eugene and Hitler. And I hope this pop collar Tyler kid gets his comeuppance.
God, I mean, what do you... I guess I hope he gets thrown in the pit. But then again, it's like, why am I rooting for average Joe to get thrown in a pit over Hitler? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
That's messed up.
Don't have a clue how that's going to all turn out. And like I said, anytime Santa Killer shows up, I'm super stoked. So now that I know he's in town, I'm pumped.
And I think he's going to be brought in within like the first 10 minutes of the episode.
I don't see how you can really waste too much time.
Oh, and I got to say, like, it happens like what the stuff that they're doing with the preacher intro, like when the word preacher pops up and then like before it goes to the credits to where it was just Tulip and Viktor talking. And we got the preacher coming up and it was just her face. Like their intro stuff is still one of the most fascinating things to me. Because I remember we were always harping about it last year.
Yeah.
And this was the first time I really noticed it this year.
But you know what's cool about their intros? You know you're always going to get something in the very beginning. And you know when it's over because all of a sudden it just goes, preacher. Yeah. You know what I mean? Freeze frame onto somebody. And then we always get a really good intro, music credits and stuff like that.
Just a fantastic job all the way around.
Absolutely. I'm really, really, really enjoying this season. So
yes, but you got anything else?
No, man, that's it.
Well, guys, until next week, I'm Cash.
I'm Jake.
And this was BleedTV.